everyone. Happy Wednesday. Today is February 25th. Our highlight for today is Simone D. Sanders Townsend. She is a political strategist and a political commentator, and she hosts MS Now's The Weeknights. She also served as a national press secretary for Bernie Sanders in his 2016 presidential campaign. With that, let's get into what we're talking about today. So, something that I've been thinking about a lot is misunderstanding. And not misunderstanding in how we misunderstand messages, but how sometimes we fear that people will misunderstand our message. What this results in is a lot of people not saying what it is they have to say, not giving the message, or delegating that task to someone else to do because you fear how someone's going to receive or even interpret the message that you have given. First, we have to understand what is it that we're afraid of. The blanket fear is fear of being misunderstood. But normally it's not just that. It's something deeper than that. And we need to name it in order to really get to the root of it. It could be fear of being seen as incompetent, damaging your own credibility or causing unintended harm, losing your influence or trust, or being judged unfairly. Whatever it is, you have to name it in order to get to the bottom of what it truly is. Next, you need to accept that you're going to be misunderstood. Former President Barack Obama was frequently misquoted and misinterpreted, and he is an amazing communicator. What this tells me is you cannot control how people interpret what you say. Your job as a communicator is clarity, to make sure you're giving a clear message. The other person's job is to interpret that message. But what we really need to do is shift our focus from being understood to being clear. The question you should be asking yourself is not, will they understand me? But have I structured this message in the clearest way possible? To make sure your message is clear, you're going to go over the steps that we've talked about in previous videos. Preview your messages, have those 3 points ready. Any terms that are ambiguous, you're going to define them. Summarize your message at the end. And you're going to ask for feedback. Asking people what they're taking from what you're saying is a great way to see if they understand or understood what you said. And one of the things that I think is very important, and I encourage everyone to do no matter what type of conversation, is follow up in writing. Get everything in writing, follow up in writing. Because you can clear anything up in the message. That also gives space for people to message back with any questions. Like I said, if someone misinterprets you, that does not mean that you failed professionally, that you are a horrible communicator, or that you're not intelligent. It could mean a number of things. It could mean that the person was distracted. They have different assumptions. The context was noisy, or they just filtered it through their own biases, which is something that happens often. We all do that. We filter messages through our own lived experiences, our own biases that we have. And we really, especially when we first hear them, when we go back and re-listen to the message or re-look at it, we can think about it critically and filter out why we feel this way about this message. What about my background tells me this about the message? But that's a whole nother conversation for a different time. So instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my bad. Oh, I messed up. Or I didn't mean that. Say, let me clarify for you. Because this can easily turn to over-explaining when you focus too much on being understood and not on clarity. Also remember, I know, because me myself, most communications professionals are perfectionists. Most communication professionals are perfectionists. We want things to go right. We have very high standards for ourselves. Sometimes we tie our identity to our articulation of a message, and we are way too concerned about ruining our reputation. Try this reframing. Look in the mirror. Say this to yourself. My job is not to be perfectly understood. My job is to communicate responsibly and repair any misunderstandings when they happen. Think of it this way. When you are sending a letter to people, to anyone, I know snail mail, many people don't use it anymore, probably don't know what it is. But when you send a letter, a physical letter to someone, you can package it carefully, you can label it clearly and correctly, and you can send it through the right channels. That is the only thing you're responsible for. What you are not responsible for is how the other person receives that package, how they open that package, and how they interpret the letter that you sent them. I sent my friends all letters. I sent them all, was it Valentine's Day? I think Valentine's Day and something else. But I sent them all Valentine's Day letters. Two of my friends received the letters perfectly. You know, perfect shape, everything. One of my friends received the letter. Hers was open. My other friend never received her letter. I was not responsible for how they received it. I did my part by sending it. That is how communication is. You're responsible for the message. You did everything clearly. You did everything right. You cannot control how someone else receives the message you sent. You can only clarify in the end if someone misunderstands or someone interprets it differently. And a bonus tip is usually when you're being misunderstood as a communication professional, you're either saying something nuanced, you're speaking to a diverse group of people, or you're operating in something that's very complex. So as a clear communicator, you don't avoid misunderstandings, you normalize it, you anticipate it, and then you repair it. All right, that's all I have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow for more tips.